Hey you guys, it's Amy Gretchen. Welcome back to days 11 and 12 in my December daily album. So for day 11, I'm actually going to be telling a story of a shopping trip that I went on with Megan. And of course, when we were shopping, we saw a photo booth and we had to stop and take some pictures. So instead of putting the actual pictures in the album, which I will probably add those to my December daily, I decided to just take a picture of the pictures and then add that to tell my story. And I grabbed over this tag from Ali Edwards, this Tis the Season. It didn't come in the kit, but it came extra. I believe it is sold out, but the digital version would still be available. So if you wanted to actually create a similar look, you would use the digital file to change the font to black. Go ahead and print that out on craft cardstock with a laser printer. You could use a copier and then put it through your ink machine with some white foil, and then you could create a similar look. So if you were interested in that. One of the things that I loved about the tag is it is a 4x6 with just the corners cut off. So if you wanted to make a book, you could print out a whole bunch of 4x6 and kind of make a book that you could flip through. I just really wanted to have the one photo on the back side of the tag. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be adhering the photo onto the back side. And then I was thinking about how I would add my journaling, and I decided to just put vellum on top of it. I thought that the photo really lent itself to having journaling over the top and kind of masking it or fuzzing it out a little bit, just because there are so many small little photos, and you definitely get the gist that it is from a photo booth, and that, some of the photos are so similar that I thought it really lent itself to this kind of treatment. So the first thing that I'm going to do is just go ahead and adhere that photo right on to the back, and I'm just using some dot adhesive. This adhesive is really great in that you can reposition something if you need to, and you'll see that I actually end up taking off the photo and repositioning it because I was having a hard time actually getting it in the right place because it had so much adhesive on it that the photo just kind of stuck down right where I put them together. So you can see that I just go ahead and just do it by the corners and putting the corners together. And then I just went ahead and clipped off the corners. Again, the photo is a 4x6, so really that's all you had to do is kind of clip off the corners. And then I'm looking at where I want to put the vellum and how far down I want to go. And essentially, do I want to add something to the top, maybe a sticker or something to the top of the back side of the tag? So I hadn't quite figured out what I wanted to do, so I decided to wait and move on to the front of the tag. So a couple things that I wanted to do to finish off this tag is something that I had done at the beginning of my album and then a couple days ago, which is actually to add some die cuts or some ephemera to the top of the tag, just to add a little bit of whimsy and color. I really have loved doing that this year. So I grabbed over the ephemera pack and also the tag pack from the Merry Days collection. And I saw this Santa Claus that I thought would go really well. Of course, I thought it was really cute, but it went, I thought, really good with the journaling that was all about kind of shopping and buying gifts, which of course you always associate Santa with gift giving. So I thought that would be really great. And then I saw this Fa La 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 that was kind of a banner and skinny, and I really liked that it was just a very different shape from the Santa Claus. And so that's the reason why I grabbed over that one as well. And then the other thing I wanted to do was to add a number, and I was considering how I would add the number to this day. I was thinking, do I put it on the back side with the photo? I really want it to be on the front side. And so I thought, you know what, why not create a little piece that I can hang from the tag? And so I thought it might be really cute to have a glittery star hanging from the tag and then cutting out the number into it. So instead of actually just using the numbers that you cut out, you're kind of using that negative space into the star. And I really love how this turned out. Now, once I finished die cutting it, you can see that the ones are really close to kind of the corners or the seams or however you want to call that onto a star. And I considered doing a larger star, maybe doing it again and making it with like the star that's a step up. but I thought it would just be too big with that tag, and I just didn't want it to be that big. And so I just decided to leave it. And I guess mostly my concern was, is it going to rip or tear? But I really think it's going to be okay. It's not that close. It is close, but it's not too close. So I just went ahead and I left it, and I end up punching a hole in the top so that I can add it then to the tag, and it just becomes one more piece in the tag. Like I said, I really love this. I don't think I have ever done something like this before to add a number to my album. So I thought it was great. And now I'm like, how else can I do this again? Just because I thought it was a fun way of adding it to there. Okay, so right now I'm kind of assembling the tag together, or at least adding those little bits into the front. And as I was putting it together, I thought, you know what, I don't want to poke a hole through my photo, so I am just going to run the twine through and then up behind the photo, and then, just let the adhesive stick it together and everything will be great. Well, what you're going to see is I actually need to stick on the vellum, and I don't want to use adhesive to do that. So I actually need to use the twine to kind of hold it in place with the photo. So you're going to see, but actually you're not going to see this because I lost this footage. Well, I didn't lose the footage per se. I was actually had headphones in, and my camera shut off because it only runs for about 12 minutes. And I had no idea that it shut off. So as I was working, I wasn't actually recording this portion. So I apologize that you won't actually see me add the vellum to the backside. But essentially all that I do is I cut the vellum down, and then I end up poking a hole through the vellum and also through the photo, and then tying the twine through all of it so that the vellum is attaching to the tag with the twine. So if that did not make sense, me explaining it, it definitely will once you see it in my album, because you'll be able to see that the twine is going through both the photo and the vellum. I just needed a way to adhere it on there, and I had not considered when I was constructing this and putting it together how I would put the vellum on. So one of the other things I considered adding to the tag were these sequins right onto the twine, but it was not going on very well. I think the twine was a little bit thick, and in the end, I just decided to leave it be and just tie a bow. I just thought there was probably a lot already going on with the tag, and so I would just let it go. So where I am jumping, this is where I jumped the footage, right? I put the vellum on the backside, so it's basically all that you missed. But where I'm jumping into this now is I realized when I went to go add this to my album, I did not want to cut into the tag because of the vellum. I want you to be able to lift up the vellum. So I couldn't cut into the tag. So I decided that I would add, I don't even know what you would call this, but I decided to add some tabs that would then go in between the photo and the tag and stick out and allow me to punch a hole, and then that is what would be into the album, right? That's what would hold the tag into the album. And I've seen lots of people do this before. These are actually products that I know Studio Calico has come out with some of these products that you have been able to purchase in the past, or they've had them in some of their kits. But I thought this was a great way to be able to add it to the album. And right now what I'm doing is I'm just trying to decide like what color I want, which is why I've got a cream and also a red. I'm trying to decide the color that I want and how really I want this to look. One of the things though that I wish I had considered, and I did not do this here, but after the fact, when I was looking at it, because I don't really love the tabs. I've never really loved the tabs. I like when other people do it, but for whatever reason, when I do it, I don't love it. So I tend to always just like punch right into my photos, right? That's normally what I do. So for this instance, looking at this, I wish instead of doing the tabs, I had just done a long strip. So one big long strip that came out of the tag that then I could punch and then add into the album that way, instead of doing these little tabs, doing like a long strip. But I didn't do that, and I definitely won't go back to do it now, just because design wise, it's not that important and it's not that big of a deal and it doesn't bug me that much. But I do sort of wish that I had gone ahead and do that. So you can see that really what I'm doing is just trying to decide on the color that I want and how I want it to look. All right, you guys, so I'm jumping ahead because there was a lot of messing around for me trying to figure out exactly what pattern paper I wanted to do. Right now, I am using the same pattern paper that's off to the left, but you'll see that I end up just reversing it and using the backside, which is the red, because I wanted it to pop a little bit more. And essentially all I do is cut out a rectangle, and then I will use the 1/8 inch corner rounder to round the corners just to give it a more finished look. And then just go ahead and punch a hole right there in the middle. And then I could adhere it in between the photo and the tag exactly where I need it so that it will match up with the rings in the binder. So it's actually easier to first add the tab up at the top and then stick that in the binder, and then add the second tab right onto the ring binder, and then adhere that onto the tag second. And that way you know that you're getting the right placement. So hopefully that made sense, you guys. So there you can actually see what the back of the tag looks like, where I ended up adding that gold cheer came from the Merry Days puffy stickers. I think it was the puffy stickers, and then the little heart was from that same set. So you kind of saw how the tag ended up looking once it was finished. So it's actually really easy to construct and put together. All right, you guys, so I have moved on to day 12, and day 12 is all about my 12 of 12 project. So if you don't know anything about my 12 of 12 project, I've actually been doing it for a decade, and just definitely finished up my 10th year, which is super crazy. I started in 2009. So what I do on the 12th of every month is I take pictures. So if you follow Allie, her day in the life is basically what I do. I just take pictures all day long, and then I take those pictures and I choose the 12 that I think best represent my day and tell the story that I want to tell, and then I add those to a collage. So I have 10 years of collages, and it is amazing to look back at our life and just get this glimpse of what was going on. And it's absolutely my favorite project. I am so grateful that I never gave up on it and that I kept going with it, because like I mentioned, going back and looking through those collages they're just a favorite piece of memory keeping and documenting that I have done. I've actually considered not doing it for the next year and maybe doing something a little bit different, like videos or something, but I'm just not entirely sure I can give up on it. So I haven't made up my mind, because in the end, I really love being able to see that collage. It's just like week in the life, in that it gives this really intense, brief moment about what's going on in your life, but you do it on a monthly basis, like once a day. So I don't know what I'm going to do, but anyway, so I have incorporated, and I've done this for the last couple years, into my December daily, my collage, by adding them to the 2x2 pockets. So what I normally do is I print each photo 2x2 and cut those out and add them, and then I add some journaling. Now last year I did this exact same thing. I added the journaling in the exact same way with the exact same stamps, and I decided that I didn't want to have to reinvent the wheel. I didn't want to have to think of another way to add to my collage, so I decided to do the exact same thing with the exact same stamps, and I feel 100% good about it. I love the way it looked last year, and I love the way it looked this year, and it's simple and it gets the job done. So never be afraid of copying yourself and repeating yourself. Honestly, it is not a big deal at all. It'll look a little bit different based on your photos and the stories that you end up telling that year. So you can see that I went ahead and I stamped all the photos, And I have some on the right and some on the left, just so it allows me to have a little bit more journaling. I thought that looked better also. And then I'm going to add, the 6 on one side and then the 6 on the other side. So one of the things that I actually ended up doing this year that I didn't do last year, just because I hadn't thought of it at the time, is to add the numbers to the photo. So when I write the journaling for number 1, I actually add 1 to the photo, which I forgot to do last year. I'll probably go back and do it just because I mean, it's obvious what photo it is, but I kind of like the look of having that number there. So I'm just using those white numbers that came from Ali Edwards. I am not 100% sure if this came in this year's kit. It says December Daily on there, so I know it was December Daily. So I'm not sure if it came with this year's supplies or a year prior. Could have come from last year, but I love this die. You saw that I actually ended up buying more because it's always good to have small letters. And I love that it includes a ton, because I can't, then I'm not afraid of actually using them. I can use them because I know that there is a ton to use. So if you like these numbers, go check out Allie's webpage, because she has more numbers for you to purchase in different colors. So I have finished all of my journaling, and then I'm just going to add the rest of the numbers. And I can't remember, I think I might have skipped over the journaling for 7 through 12, just because it is basically the same process of adding the number onto the photo and then doing the journaling. So I felt like you didn't necessarily have to see everything. And of course, I'm always trying to keep this a little bit not too long, kind of shortened. So what I end up doing after I put everything down is then I will fill in the pockets. So right now you can see, I think right now I'm actually trying to consider what I will do for the number and how I will add the number. I typically add that number right there in the center. And so that's something that I'm thinking about, and I'm going to move on and add my photos just on, the other side. One of the things that I actually like to do with these 12 or these 2x2 pockets is add some see-through, because I feel like when they're solid, or when you've just filled up the pockets, they're pretty solid. And I love the idea of having some see-through pockets. And you can see right there that I ended up I've got 3 see-through pockets, and one of those is going to be the number 12. And then I actually have, you can see how it's blank and white. And I don't want that. I don't want to have to come up with something else, I guess I could just get a pattern paper or something like that. But you'll see that I end up moving things around just so that I have four blank spots, or four clear pockets that I'm able to just fill up. So I pulled over these white numbers. I think these came in last year's kit, or at least they were available in 2017 in the shop. And I'm looking at that. I'm adding it there. I love that it fit. I did not think that it would fit. I thought maybe I'd have to cut it down a little bit. But I'm considering what I might want to do with that as I'm continuing to work. So I decided one of the pockets I wanted to add some confetti and do something kind of fun. So I pulled over these words, and on the back side of the word it said, or one of the words it says daily, and then the other one said joy. So those are the two that I was kind of looking at. And I thought that daily would be great for this, because this is obviously daily photos and it's just everyday life stuff. So I added the daily right into the pocket, and then I'm putting in the confetti. Now these stars are such a pain, because they are so clingy and they are so staticky, and they stick to your fingers and they stick everywhere. So I'm actually not even going to seal up this pocket, because they stick, and they'll stick into the pocket and they will not fall out. So I'm not worried about it at all. So the pack comes with white, gold, and I think maybe silver and black. I think there might be silver in there. I can't remember. Maybe not silver. Maybe it's just gold. But I wanted some more color. And so I grabbed over some sequins that I have that I knew had some red stars. You can see those red stars actually have holes in them. But I just went ahead and I added that to the pocket just to give it a little bit more color. And here's where you can see that I start moving things around just so that I end up with 3 or 4 empty spots. All right, so I moved the tree down and I brought in the hexagon. You can see that I'm just kind of playing with things and trying things out to see if they fit or if I like the look of them. And so that's basically what I was doing. And I was looking at the number 12 and I thought, what if I added glitter? I have a ton of this. I think it was Martha Stewart glitter that I bought. I hate to say a decade ago. Like I bought it before I moved into this house like a long time ago. And so I was like, what if I added it? And then I was like, how would I add it? I don't really have a good adhesive, but I had this Mod Podge. So I brought this over and honestly, I don't know that this is the thing to use. And after I had done it, I was like, what would have been better? Maybe some Versamark ink and just using gold glitter embossing powder, because this glitter was a mess. But considering it was going to be in a pocket, I knew that it would probably be fine and probably, stay in place and I wouldn't have to worry about it. If it was out in the open, there's no way I would have glitter all over my album just because it was a mess. So I ended up doing 2 coats of the glitter and just letting it kind of sit there to dry. And I liked it. I did like it. I added it to my album and I thought it was okay. See, I just kind of removed it to let it dry. And then I'm going to bring my pocket back. So you'll see when I add it to my album and you can see what it looks like. And I end up not using it. So I'll let you know that just right off the bat. I end up not using it. But I do like it. I just thought it seemed like too much gold and too bold. So I ended up not using it. All right. So I am working on the back side of this little hexagon. So what's really cool about this is they're both made out of the same material. And this material, this kind of rubber, it sticks to the page protector. So again, I don't need to close up the page protector because I know it's not falling out. And what's really awesome is the joy is made out of the same material. So they're sticking to each other. So I don't even have to worry about adhering one to the other because they're doing that on their own. So I ended up putting that joy right on the back and I thought that looked super cute. It was like I made my own embellishment. Of course, you can see that I put it on wrong, so I have to change it up. And of course, you guys, there was just glitter all over my finger. So I was getting glitter all over the other embellishments. It was kind of crazy. All right, so I love this star transparency and I just felt like I wanted to preserve it. This is like the only sheet that I have. And so I had an extra 2x2 square, so I ended up cutting it out instead of using my cutter to cut like a full strip. But I should have just cut like a full strip because in the end, I think I ended up cutting 2 out, so it would have been fine. And I got some adhesive onto the back because I adhered that white square onto it just so I could cut it easier without it moving around. So I had to get rid of the adhesive. And then I just put it on the back side of the tree. And I love the way that looked. I thought that was really cool. And you'll see before I'm finished that I end up doing that at the top where the hexagon is just to add a little something. And I could have actually probably done it where the 12 went since I didn't use the glittery 12. But I decided not to do it because the 12 I do use is the one with the gold polka dots on it. So it does have a little bit of gold on it. And I didn't want everything to be backed with it. So I just decided to just do it with those 2 pockets. So you can see that I had to take it apart and then redo it. And of course, it sticks to the plastic just fine. So you do not have to worry about sealing that up as well. All right, you guys. So essentially I am done with day 12. You're going to see me pull in my gold one, stick it in, and you can see how that looks. Now, I like it. I do. I do. There's pops of gold on the tree. There's gold in the star. There's gold on the other side with the cheer. I should have just left it, right? I think it's really cute. But for whatever reason, it just felt a little too much when I was looking at it. I kept looking at it and turning the page. And so in the end, I decided to go with the white with the polka dots. But I do have it. So, if I change my mind again, I can just slip it in the pocket. But I think I wanted it a little bit more subtle and kind of allow my photos to stand out a little bit. I don't know. I'm looking at it and I like it. I do. So we'll see. I don't think I'll change my mind, but I'm always changing my mind. So you never know, you guys. But anyways, that is it. I am done with days 11 and 12. Thank you guys so much for being here. Really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below and I will be happy to get to them. And if you like what you saw, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps me be able to promote my channel so that I'm able to continue to make videos for you guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you again so much. And I really hope that you are enjoying your process of your December daily and that you're having a fabulous month. Merry Christmas, you guys, and we will catch you in the next one. Bye.